So we've all just been in a match, playing our game, hitting the ball here and there, when all of a sudden from out of nowhere, someone performs something that throws us off completely. And we just sit there, thinking,
What? What the f?
I want to go learn it. You look it up, you find a tutorial, and you try to follow it and all, but even the basics of it seem difficult. Lean to the opposite side that the ball is on, the front flip. That's the core keys for...
I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Well, as I tend to tell people that I coach, don't focus on the flashy stuff first. Master the basics. The mechanics I will cover here today aren't gonna get you incredible montage-worthy goals. They aren't gonna get you a contract with the face of Rocket League, but it will get you one thing, and that is wins. If there's anything that I want you to take from this video, I want it to be this. Master your fast aerials. Sometimes what separates a low-ranked player and a high-ranked player is the speed at which they can get to the ball in the air. So if you want to soar past your teammates' rank and go to the next level, you need to learn how to do these correctly. Let's break it down. Step número uno. Boost. You need boost to aerial, and for fast aerials you boost through the whole thing. Once you tape down your boost button, step number 2 is jump and lean back. You do this by holding your left stick down or by holding down S on your keyboard, but you gotta make sure that you're jumping and leaning at the same time. Not jumping and then leaning. Jump and lean together. So one input is jump and lean. The third step is letting go of your left stick, or S, and hitting your jump button again. The second jump is what makes your aerial a fast aerial, as it gives you a burst of speed to reach the ball quicker. It is important to learn the timing of these two jumps, as you don't want to hit them so quick that it doesn't put you in the air at all, but not so slow that you miss your jump timer. They should look like this, so just keep at it until you get it down consistently. The way I would practice this is just in free play, fast aerialing from about midfield to one of the side walls, driving back on the ground, fast aerialing to the other. Oh yeah, try to avoid backflipping. It helps. One thing that tends to come along the learning practice is a thing called air roll. Air roll is essentially another direction and way that you can control your car in the air. It's in the name, you roll in the air. Air roll is a necessary mechanic within many recoveries and other mechanics in this game, such as stalls, fast flips, that take advantage of it. In my beginner guide to Rocket League, I covered a few little exercises that you could do to get the basic understanding of what air roll is, but in essence, you go into free play, you fall off and jump off every single surface that you can find, and just practice landing on your wheels, as your recoveries and overall game speed will improve greatly. However, when doing this, make sure that you always land with the nose of your car facing the direction that you want to go, as you want to maintain as much momentum as possible. It's just going to help you move around the field much quicker and much more efficiently that way. A crucial skill to learn for any 1v1 situation is our number 3, flicks. No matter what game mode you might be playing, there will without a doubt be a moment in which you are put in a position where it may just be you and the opponent, or you and multiple opponents and you're forced to send the ball upfield, or you just might be able to score. That's where flicks come in. A flick is the action of you flipping to the ball where it's either on top of your car or close enough that you can generate power onto it throughout your flip. It's a very common scoring tactic, and for a very good reason. They're good. A flick allows you to change the direction in which you have the ball going, which can make it really difficult for the opponent to save. Some of the basic ones I recommend practicing are front flicks, side flicks, and back flips. They tend to be the easier ones to learn how to do, and with enough practice, who knows, they might be the primary way you score, or they very well may help you climb through the ranks. This is a bit of a shorter one, but to help your recoveries even further, you want to learn how to half flip. I tend to teach 2 different half flip methods, one a bit quicker than the other, but at the end of the day, they both get the job done. Method number 1 on keyboard involves the backflip canceling while air rolling using your shift key, air roll, and either A or D. I personally recommend A since it feels easier for me at least. To learn this method, you want to first begin by learning how to cancel your flip. You want to start by first backflipping. Now on this next backflip, a bit more than halfway through, you want to stop holding down S and hold down W instead. This will cancel the animation of you flipping and should make you land on your roof. The timing for this cancel is the most important part of the half flip, so it's really important that you learn the correct timing for it. Now that you got canceling your flip down, you want to hold down Shift or your arrow key, A or D, and W while canceling your flip. It should end up looking like this. The second method is a slight variation of the first one, in which all you change is instead of holding down Shift and A or D, you hold down either Q or E. Q and E are the default dedicated arrow buttons on keyboard. This method seems to be a bit slower, but it can be more precise, so it's all personal preference, although I recommend the first method even more. On to my controller folk. To do method number 1, you want to begin by slightly turning to the opposite direction you're going to be flipping. In my case, I'm going to be flipping along my left side, so I'll be turning to the right. The next step is that you want a corner backflip. For the sake of this demonstration, I'll be corner backflipping to the left. Now for the difficult part, getting the correct timing. You want to start by flicking your left stick straight up almost as soon as your car is completely upside down. It's really tricky to do, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't come to you quickly. I found that this method seems to be the quickest half flip in the game, and saving time in Rocket League can often be the deciding factor for a loss or a win. The second half flip on controller is essentially the same method from keyboard. It requires you to bind a dedicated arrow button, either arrow left or arrow right. I recommend binding at least one of these as it can be useful and often necessary for other mechanics in this game. What you want to do is backflip, flick your analog stick straight up, then hold down your dedicated arrow button while not letting go of your analog stick. This method seems to be a lot easier to learn and can take you just as far, but it's a bit slower than the other method. I recommend practicing in both, as knowing both can't really hurt you. So for this one, I actually made a whole video going into depth and showcasing when and where to perform this mechanic, but I'll cover it shortly here. The way that you perform a Wavedash is by jumping, leaning the car to one side, and flipping in the opposite direction as one of your wheels is touching the ground. It's essentially a flip, but without the flip animation. It's used when coming off a wall, while dribbling, and in many different recoveries. So just practice doing it in every direction, and be creative with it. There's tons of things that can be done with something seemingly so simple. This is probably the most complicated mechanic on the list to master that has been making itself more and more into the Rocket League meta recently. Whether it's 1s, 2s, or 3s, its presence is well established and has become a necessary mechanic to master to reach the highest levels in this game. Countless tutorials have arisen on the mechanic, but mainly I found two different methods of performing it. The first and main method involves a diagonal front flip cancel, in which you either diagonal front flip to the left or to the right. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll be using diagonal left. You begin by diagonal front flipping to the left, and as soon as you flip, flicking your left stick straight down as fast as you can, canceling the front flip part of the move, but still keeping that forward momentum. A couple of things to keep in mind are that to get the most out of a fast flip, you should use some boost. About 20 or so should be more than enough to get you to supersonic. Making sure that you hold down power slide throughout can also help you with your landing. To perform this on keyboard, you either hold down A and W or D and W while holding down power slide, your shift key, and switching from W to S as soon as you can to cancel the front flip part. It can be very tricky, and for a lot of keyboard players, I recommend you guys using the second method, as it can just be way less of a hassle to do. The second way that I've seen a fast flip performed is with a front flip while holding down one of the directional arrows. You remember how I told you to bind one? this is another reason why. If you front flip while holding down either arrow left or arrow right, you perform a perfect diagonal flip. Using this, we can perform a fast flip by holding down arrow left in my case, while front flipping, then immediately flicking our analog stick straight down. On keyboard, you would begin by either holding down Q and W or E and W, and then switching to S as fast as you can, while not letting go of either Q or E. A lot of people have told me that the second method is much easier to learn, and I would agree, as I haven't seen any major downsides to the second method over the first one. But I just feel like, just like in the half flip in this video, it's all personal preference. This mechanic can take a bit to learn, but it will be more than worth it in the long run. If you can, you might as well learn them both. Why not? You know, doesn't hurt anyone. On to what is probably the most important thing to master. Even if you can't lift the wheel off the ground, if you can hit the ball with accuracy and power, more often than not you win. Sometimes all that's needed to turn the tides of a match is a quick strong shot onto the net. As you level up to the higher ranks, you'll notice that people's defense gets better, and so your shots have to get better, and at some point they'll be so good that only very specific parts of the net can be scored on, as the defender will be able to save almost everything. So understanding how to get the proper amount of power on the ball and where to place it can be very important. One of the most notable things are power clears onto the net. The amount of times that I've seen games just end in long shots is almost baffling. And even if the ball doesn't even go into the net, a power clear could very well have just given your team some time to reset, cause the opponents to go into panic mode, everybody collecting boosts, and just kind of restart the play. So learning how to just boom the ball can help a ton. Now, I'm not saying that the solution for everything is just booming the ball, because this can often lead to giving up possession unnecessarily, ruining up a play that someone had in mind, and just not being able to follow it up. Learning when and where to boom the ball is really important and very situational, and I'll try to cover as much as I can in a later video. For now, I recommend practicing this training pack made by Whey Protein. The code will be in the description and it should be on the screen now. And aiming for a goal of at least 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour, as that speed is often fairly difficult to save. I've tested all these shots and they're all possible to get that speed on, with the exception of number 8. That one's a little bit weird. You can still do it. It's a little bit strange though. But all the other ones work. Try to work your speed goals in increments of 5. So if you score a 101, aim for a 105. If you score a 106, aim for a 110. If you score a 120, aim for a 130. There's shots in that pack that can go up to 140. So just keep on going. The more accurate and the more power that you can get, the better off you might be in your games. So that does it for 7 mechanics you need to master in Rocket League. If you guys have any more in mind, feel free to drop them down in the comments below for a possible part 2 for this. Lastly, I want to thank you guys once again for all the love and support that y'all have been dropping recently. It's honestly amazing, and I hope to be helping more and more as time goes on. I would also like to announce that your boy has a Discord. The link for it is in the description, and I just want to build a community for people to hang out and find chill people to play with. That does it for me today. Happy New Year, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.